So I'm fresh out the theater. I just saw Supergirl. And I gotta admit, I think a lot of people are becoming cheap. Why do I say that? It's becoming cool to just, whenever there's like, especially these big blockbuster DC Marvel movies, it seems like everybody kind of just follows the trend. Oh, it's either the best thing they've ever seen or it's just complete trash and don't waste your time. But sometimes you get a simple movie that just does what it's supposed to do. Now, I'll admit, I'm not the biggest superhero movie fan, but I don't hate them. I'm not gonna go Martin Scorsese and say that they're not cinema, but at the same time, I'm not like the world's biggest superhero fan. But what I will say is this: watching that movie, I feel like it provided a comprehensive storyline, which not a lot of superhero movies do nowadays. It was contained, meaning it kept the focus on the main characters. It didn't go too much over here, too much over there, and I really liked that. I really enjoyed that about the movie was, although it might not have been the world's most exciting thing you've ever seen, it was still enjoyable in regards to the fact of the storyline and the characters that it put in front of you. Flawed characters that had to overcome something, especially Supergirl. We already know what she's been through, and it shows. You can see it throughout the movie. You can see her having ups and downs, emotional traumas, tackling a little bit of mental health. I really like the scene where she flew up in the air, went into space just to scream because nobody could hear it. Then she came back down. I thought that was pretty cool. With that being said, I'm not here to come up with some false debate. I'm not gonna force the movie down your throat, but I will say I do think that they're underhyping it. A lot of times we talk about movies being overhyped. Here's a movie that's being underhyped. And I'm really worried about the state of people's individuality nowadays, because it should never be to the point where people are just telling you what to think and everybody's just following suit. I know part of that is human nature, but when you really think about it, it's kind of going too far nowadays. Like, you got movies that come out and, like, what happened to stuff being polarizing? What happened to the debates and people saying, I stand on this and I stand on that, and we can just debate about it? Seems like nowadays, the minute let me not get ahead of myself. I want to just say something real quick. You remember when Joker came out in 2019 and it had some private screening and people said, man, this is too dark, we shouldn't put this out, or whatever they said. And that rumor got out there and made everybody go, ooh, what's this mystique about? Ooh, this Joker movie sounds dark. Ooh, it sounds like something that we've never seen. I feel like a lot of Hollywood movies nowadays are coming down to this whole, the first critic's reaction, or like that first private screening. It's like they get a small group of people who are important to watch a movie in some private screening, and then whatever those people say spreads around, and people go, well, it's coming out soon, but I heard it was this, I heard it was that, and it kind of sets the tone for people to just follow suit. Enough with the whole, oh, Supergirl is trash, it's terrible, da 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 da. I personally enjoyed this more than Wonder Woman 1989. I thought it was decent. Are you gonna enjoy it as much at home as you did in the theater? Maybe not with the full sound effects and the popcorn and stuff. It's a very popcorn movie, as all superhero movies are. But I will say this, they got the quality of action right. They did pretty good. There's a scene where they're on some kind of like planetary transportation thing, and it kind of went down in there, and I thought that was really cool. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there was a certain effect that she was doing with a certain weapon. I thought that was well done. I thought the final scene was well done as well. That big action, Jason Momoa came in, he did what he came to do. At this point, I'm sure if you really want to see it, most of you have seen it by now. But I'm still not going to spoil it, man. I really think that this movie deserves at least some recognition for the quality that they put into it. With that being said, I'm not gonna sit here and try to sell it to you. I'm not gonna, shove the movie down your throat, like I said, and force you to, I'm going against the grain. This movie, I'm not gonna be extreme on either end. I'm not gonna overhype it, and I'm not gonna underhype it. I think this movie is definitely worth the watch, especially if it's just you by yourself or your significant other. But if you gotta go in there with a bunch of kids and you gotta pay for everybody, maybe you could kind of pump the brakes on it and wait for that thing to come out streaming. But I just wanted to say the movie's not bad at all. It's pretty decent. I had a good time. I enjoyed it. But what I will say mainly is people, we gotta really think for ourselves nowadays. We can't just jump on every bandwagon. Okay, when Obsession came out, that that little part that went viral, now everybody's saying, oh, Obsession is the greatest thing. And I enjoyed Obsession, but I can see how everybody is kind of just jumping on one bandwagon. What happened to the debates? Then you got another movie, I would say Disclosure Day, but I didn't like that one at all. I think people got that one right. I don't know. This movie, I think it's a little bit underhyped. Oh, Scary Movie 6. How can I forget that one? Scary Movie 6 was significantly underhyped. A lot of people said, I didn't find it funny, But my thing is, maybe it's just a cultural difference. That could be number one. Number two, if you don't find it funny, that's cool. But if you sit here and tell me that Scary Movie 2 was better than Scary Movie 6, I gotta call you out and say you might be on the bandwagon. It just might be that you're on the bandwagon. And I'm always up for a debate. Drop a comment. Let me know. Am I bugging? Am I going crazy? Because I kind of feel like a lot of the audiences have lost their mind. Well, maybe I should say critics or the people who reviewed it. Maybe there are a lot of people who agree with me, but they're silent. Maybe they don't have a YouTube channel to get on and express themselves, or they're not getting on whatever platform they have and expressing themselves. Maybe that's what it is. Now, granted, it could be that people who are super into the comic book stuff have their complaints. If you're one of those, I can't really debate you on that, because you have entered a realm that I am not familiar in myself. I'm not familiar with myself. I'm not in that comic book realm to tell you they deviated from the original comic book. This character was supposed to be this. I don't know. I just take it for what it is. I was in there with some Pepsi that I snuck in and some chips, chilling, enjoying the show. It was over. I left. I enjoyed it. Thought about the quality of the action. I thought that the actress did a really good job. And I'm sure if this movie comes out with a part 2, it's gonna do really well, because everybody's saying it's trash, but it seems like a lot of people are going out to see it. And a lot of times people do this whole, oh, this movie's trashed and part 2 comes out and it does even better than the first one. What does that mean? I'm not sure, but learn to think for yourself, guys. That's the main point of this whole situation. Drop a comment. Let me know if you agree. If you disagree, I'm all ears. With that being said, it's the end of the weekend. Next week, more movies come out. I'll be back in there, and I'll see you guys on the next one.